Good morning. How are we doing? It is another week and it is another episode of the Procrastinator's Guide to Life, my daily attempt to start the day well. I hope you had a lovely weekend. I have had a very busy one. It's been lovely, actually. I've done lots over the weekend. On Saturday, I went and took my son and a bunch of his friends to laser tag, which I haven't done since the 1990s, which was actually lots of fun. So we had a great time. And then on Sunday, we went up to the farm to do a bunch of prep for the upcoming retreat. So we've got a few retreats happening over the summer, and one of the things we needed to do was just get the outdoor space which we use down in the woods lovely and tidy, and we had to take down a tree that had died, sadly. So there's like the private woodland. Hello, Christine, how you doing? Yes, I would say we got down to the space in the woods, and we saw that there's an elm tree, a wych elm tree down there, which had died as a result of Dutch elm disease. And so it was actually probably about 40 years old, so it had done really well. It was quite tall, so it was really sad that it had died. But over just the course of a year, it had died, so we had to take it down. So I put a video of my dad, who was a very good sort of lumberjack, taking the tree down, which is always fun to see in slow motion. So we did that, which was good fun. I do not have those skills. He keeps threatening to teach me, which is probably useful. But yeah, 75, yomping through the woods with the chainsaw, not doing badly. So we did that, and that was all good fun. Tiring though, quite tiring. So we dashed up to Worcestershire, and just myself, Una and Oren, and spent the day just working down in the woods until the heavens opened, and we then hopped in the car and drove back down to Plymouth. So yeah, it was all pretty good, actually. Trying to think what else happened. Nothing really kind of too exciting, other than just being able to spend some lovely time with my family. My daughter is currently away on camp for a week, which she's absolutely loving. So she's down in Cornwall, just living the life of Riley with all of her school friends. So the house has felt weirdly empty, which is always kind of a funny thing, but we know she's off having a fantastic time. So the structure of this show is that we have a very sort of straightforward process. I turn up, I will share a tip, and then we will have a guest. We don't always have guests. We're building up that rota. In fact, Christine here is going to be coming on as a guest at some point soon, which is quite exciting. And we've now got sort of 10 people waiting in the wings, and the calendar is slowly filling up. I knew it would be a slightly slower start with this, because obviously we're sort of building the show in real time. The idea was that rather than me prevaricate and find excuses not to do the show, I was just going to do it. And we're not talking about perfection, we're talking about getting stuff done, and that's actually working very nicely. But my tip for the day is a really simple. So this is I will sort of alternate between productivity and kind of video making and marketing tips as the stuff that I do, and obviously we'll have lots of different daily tips from people who will come in and speak. So I try to make the tips that I share practical, actionable stuff that I've actually done or am doing myself. And so the today's tip is much more of a productivity one than it is a video one, and it's really simple, actually. So I know we talked about prioritization with Suzanne Young the other day, and I was talking about how I use my sort of Pomodoro timer system to sort of divvy up the time in my day to make sure I'm being as productive as I possibly can. But I'm going to go back to the prioritization issue, because this is something that I will not struggle with, that's the wrong word, but my inclination is very often to leave the knottier stuff till last. But a while, ages ago, I read this. It's a, quite an old book, but actually rather good. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It's a book I read, gosh, probably about 20 years ago, I think. Is that right? When did it come out? I think it came out in the 90s. 2001 it was published. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. So basically it's a very, very slim book. It's only about sort of 80 or 90 pages long, and something you can quite comfortably devour in a couple of hours. But really the premise is a very simple one, is that when you've done all your prioritization, identify the day's worst imaginable task, the one that you're looking at and it is either causing you anxiety, or you're looking at and is causing you to feel a little bit ill, and get it done. Sort of gird yourself and tackle that task. Get the most unpleasant thing out of the way as your first activity, i.e. eating that frog. And once the frog is eaten, you feel fantastic, actually, because you know that the rest of the day is easy compared to that. And it's quite a nice sort of psychological trick. It requires a little bit of bravery and a little bit of sort of getting stuff done, but actually it is a really powerful thing to do. So I would recommend the book Eat That Frog, and it is something which will, when applied with a bit of sort of diligence and rigor, will make life a lot better. I promise. So that is my tip for today. Check out Eat That Frog. Many of you probably have, because it's been out a long time and is a well liked book. As Ruth says, it tastes like chicken. Indeed, it does a little bit, doesn't it? I must say it's one of those meats that I'm not a vegetarian, but I live in a vegetarian household, so I sort of am by default. But frog is one of those meats that I have tried, but yes, I know that eating the frog isn't necessarily the world's worst thing in real life. So metaphorical frogs should hold no fears, and indeed once they're sort of once they're dealt with, the rest of the day does feel better. It's a genuinely sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Transformative is probably too much, but it just frees up the day. So I would strongly recommend taking a look at it. So when combined with that prioritization process we talked about the other day and the time blocking, you start to build up quite a powerful process of time management. I don't like the word, well, I've never liked the idea of time management, partly because historically I've been so bad at it, but I like it because my world gets infinitely better when I apply time management principles, as I'm sure a lot of us recovering procrastinators know. But it's not necessarily easy to do, but it is good for you. This is definitely take your medicine time. So what does the rest of the day hold for you? I hope you have a delicious frog ready for you at the start of your day, and I would say let's go out and eat those frogs together. That is that. If you are watching and thinking, gosh, I'd like to come on and share a tip with people, I've got something I'd like to share, get on in here, sign up. So you can see the link below in the comments. Follow that through. What will then happen is you'll fill that in. There'll be an automated email that comes through afterwards, and on that email there is a calendar booking form link. So you will be able to book in on that link and get yourself in the diary. Now, we can do the episode in two different ways. If you're watching this later and thinking, I really don't want to get up at 6 in the morning, what we can do is do a pre-record and record your episode beforehand, and I will then play it as part of the morning live. So you get all the lovely the benefit of coming and sharing your tip and sharing with everyone who's watching now, but you don't have to get up at 6. So can't say better than that. Right, I will get on with the rest of the day. I'm going to go and decide which frog to eat. And the good thing is, the more often you eat a frog, the easier it gets. And you soon find out that the frogs you've got left aren't that bad at all. So there we go. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you all tomorrow.